Glad to have you.
Okay, so I was giving you a little heads up of what I was talking about, and what I wanted to get into was our reality and the fabric of our reality, like what it's made of and stuff like that. And the example I was talking about was Super Mario Brothers. Like if you're watching Super Mario Brothers, it's like a two-dimensional pattern made out of squares. So like only
And it's flat.
yeah, and only so many patterns can be made in it because it's all squares and it's all 3D. So basically, you only so many pixels could fit within this grid.
Right.
Because the grid could only fit so many pixels.
It's compatible with like only flat 2D shapes and things. But you couldn't have a sphere in the old Mario.
Yeah, you could. It would like.
What the hell is
it would
this?
have like squared off edges and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
you couldn't have certain shapes. Even the triangles were like pyramid with blocks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like because it was square, so you can only fit so many patterns in that grid. Now what I was getting at is like the sacred geometry and the flower of life pattern. The flower of life pattern. Like there. And within the flower of life pattern you can create what's known as Metatron's cube. And in Metatron's cube you can create the tetrahedron, the cube. It's made out of spheres with lines connected from each center to create these patterns. And you can create every pattern, like everything from
Star of David.
from the Star of David to the 5 platonic shapes.
Right.
So if you can create the 5 platonic shapes, then you can create the table of elements. Because every element known to mankind is made of these platonic shapes. That's the shape of the molecular structure.
Right.
So our universe is made of shapes and geometric patterns that can fit within Metatron's cube that fits within the flower of life. So it's like the same concept of Super Mario Brothers, only with multiple shapes and three-dimensional shapes.
Like a next level up.
Yeah, so three-dimensional, multi-geometrical shapes creating the reality that we live in. So we live in a reality that there's a grid, and that grid is made of the flower of life, and within that flower of life there's Metatron's cube and multiple Metatron's cube, because off of each Metatron cube and you can make another Metatron's cube.
Yeah, you can go get
And
deeper.
do it over and over. It becomes fractal.
Yeah.
Just like so, it's like a fractal pattern of the flower of life with the fractal pattern of Metatron's cube on top of it, and then and then it becomes three-dimensional, and all the shapes that can fit within that is what fits in the reality that we live in. And because of that, we see patterns over and over again.
See how things are built somehow.
Yeah, so like you could see you'll see the same spiral, this spiral in the Milky Way, as you see on the top of your head, on your cowlick, or in your thumbprint. Like that pattern is everywhere because that pattern fits within that grid of that fractal grid.
Yeah.
That's on top of that fractal grid of the flower of life. So Metatron's fractal cube on top of the flower of life fractal pattern in 3 dimensions. And then you have I kind of lost my train of thought. But basically, I believe that's what creates our reality, and that's why we see certain patterns, repetitive patterns over and over again, like the Fibonacci sequences. And
Those are what fuse to build our reality.
Our reality.
Rather than like the Mario world where it's just a bunch of squares. To build like, pyramids and blocks and things like that. Things for, in the background, even like the trees, like you were saying.
So to fill in the most compressed possible space within a 3-dimensional grid, you could use the Fibonacci sequence and make something that fits our reality that looks really complicated. But in reality, it's just what fits our grid. What pixels fit in our grid.
Yeah. And basically we can think of whatever we can think of, that's tangible in that state, like a, shapes and figures being able to create it out of the Metatron's cube. And it's like, we can go over to create, not per se like actually create and build them, but whatever we can think of could be not real, but like drawn out, or like, hey, that could work, or something like what I mean, like these random and big shapes. What I'm thinking, it was like kind of, what was the Book of Revelations, that thing that nobody could really explain, like the chair, the chariot, it was like unperceivable. Like everything that we can perceive, like a house is something that's built that we can perceive. Like you made wood and made it into a cube, and we're able to build it up.
Yeah,
like things that
it fits within the paradigm.
Yeah, that's what I spent all that trying to get to. Like we couldn't create nothing, or even being able to fathom something that's like.
Okay, so if that's how complicated our paradigm is and can create.
Imagine one step up.
Yeah, so that means like something, because that's three-dimensional.
Yeah.
So there might be a fourth-dimensional paradigm.
Yeah.
And that fourth-dimensional paradigm could be like...
Make ours look minuscule, because look...
The DMT universe that looks like that.
Yeah.
I
know, because look how much of a jump of more possibilities we have from the 2D to the third dimensional.
Right.
2D is just going straight across, not
Flat.
being able to...
Not having an up or down, just just a left, right, a side to side. Well,
you can go
up, down, side to side,
left,
but not a
east, west. Yeah.
They can go east, west, and
south. Yeah, like you have up, down, left, right.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, but look at the difference of what we have in the third dimension. There's so many different different shapes. Sphere. You got rectangle, prism, all kinds of different, all different kinds of prisms that are.
But all those shapes only fit this paradigm because they fit
in Metatron's cube.
Cube.
So is there like a Metatron's cube for like the second dimension?
So there must be some kind of geometry.
And if so, we should be able to figure out what it is, because it's something.
I think it's incomprehensible. Like it's almost comprehensible, but incomprehensible at the same time. Because you have to imagine yourself as a 2D being,
right,
trying to understand the 3D world that we're living in.
Right.
So they can't even comprehend.
Like how we can only see the shadow of the Tesseract, or like.
Right. So basically that's all we would be able to understand is the shadow.
And could we consciously, do you think, not degrade, not lower ourselves, but could we put ourselves consciously to think as if
I think we could do that in our inner space. I think we can conceive it in our inner
because
space.
We live in the third.
We live in the third.
And we're able to perceive the second. We can even create shit.
I think that we could perceive fourth dimensional in our mind, in our consciousness, but we can't explain it because it's not comprehensible in a 3D dimensional world.
Yeah.
With limited language. It's like trying to explain God with language.
With words.
You know what I mean?
Trying to explain pure energy
with words.
Yeah.
Trying to explain a pure energy, electrical ball of light emitting, like
what it does.
That?
Yeah.
How do you explain that?
An infinite source
with limited language, you know. So that's like one of my tips, like that I've been tripping on. But then get this, okay, and it all fits together. So we'll keep that in mind. Keep in mind Metatron's cube on the flower life pattern. We're living in a three-dimensional universe. I also think, okay, like a lot of things are constructs of our imagination when it comes to time, because experiences transcend time and space. So like the past, memories. So the past has already happened. So all we have is a memory of it, and that memory of it is a construct of our mind. Now when we think about the future, we're thinking about something that hasn't happened yet, and we can perceive it and think of it, and perceive it, and possibly even imagine it, what's going to happen. But that's also a construct of your mind. Because the only thing that's actually happening is now. Okay? So to like reconstruct the past, like in like technology or something like that, like a holographic or something, then you would have to create a holographic grid that could show your memory on it in 3 dimensions, and that grid would probably have to be made of metatrons cube on top of a 3-dimensional flower life, so that you could look at a hologram of your memory. Because otherwise, your memory, that's like making your memory into a 3-dimensional hologram that you can visualize.
You can with your eyes. Yeah.
But that hologram has to be made of light on a 3-dimensional.
So what's that light? I mean, what? Because it's not there. I mean, is the hologram there? Because it's
the hologram is just light, and that light is just an electromagnetic wave.
So what's this? I mean, what's to say that light isn't altered? Like,
but it's not to say that we're not living in something like that. Like, okay, if you look at it in the biblical sense, like that could be light,
yeah,
and we're living in light. And I don't know. Maybe I'm stretching. That's a stretch, and a little bit of deep end to kind of get into.
Yeah.
But
say that kind of works.
Yeah. Because that's like getting into religious paradigms and stuff like that. But I just wanted to talk about that because that was something that's been pondering my mind.
But even with a hologram, like even from my own personal knowledge, not necessarily a hologram that's somehow from.
Well, what if we're living in that on a hologram? Is what I was saying. And
shut off.
And the hologram is made of a 3-dimensional flower of life with the metatrons cube, and everything that we're experiencing is consciousness in individuals being projected into a 3-dimensional paradigm that we're living in and experiencing.
So okay, well,
so could it be turned off if that consciousness of or what higher source is turned off?
So if we're the hologram, what's the projector?
That's what I'm saying. Or what if it's not a projector? What if it's a consciousness? What if it's a higher consciousness? What if that consciousness is only dreaming us, and that consciousness wakes up, and our reality ceases to exist?
Kind of like that butterfly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's some deep shit.
That's deep too. But I mean, like, there's all these different possibilities, like of
what could be beyond things that are incomprehensible to those that we know right now. When you think about it like that, it's like, it kind of makes you wonder, can I break down reality right now? It's like, obviously at night, I'm still here, you're still experiencing this consciousness.
Yeah, so it's like there has to be,
there is,
like our consciousness is, like we believe there's one consciousness, and that one consciousness is experiencing this paradigm through your eyes,
yeah.
And then that same consciousness is experiencing this paradigm through my eyes.
Right.
Then it's this consciousness that's outside of it that's experiencing it.
Because you and I, we're one consciousness.
So if either one of us ceases to exist, that consciousness is still
there,
existing through somebody else's eyes.
Right.
Somebody else's eyes.
So
you never cease to exist because you're actually that coming through you. So who are you? Who am I? That's who am I?
Yeah, this is just myself, you know. And there's like not even anything physical. I wouldn't even conscious nowhere nothing close to physical. You know, if you say I was my physical body were to pass on and die, you know, this over here would still be, I would still be experiencing it, even if it was through this individual. Not saying like I possessed them or anything, but my consciousness, the consciousness that you and I share, is still being viewed and continuing on through yours, or you know.
It's like TVs.
My disappearance doesn't alter yours.
It's like TVs getting reception from cable, and multiple TVs have cable, and one TV breaks, but the other TVs are still getting the cable reception.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like that. It's still that. It's still happening. It's still continuing.
Do you think the models of that shit, like cable and TV, like all that, like the radio waves are based off of something higher, like they got the idea from something higher, like what we were just speaking about, like
it's probably an understanding of that and learning how
like
to
same
use
with
that.
the internet.
And that's why, it's circuitry.
And being able to connect with each
Electricity, circuitry,
other.
telephone,
Electricity,
internet.
spark.
Well, that's how our brain works, because you have to imagine our brain is just neurons with electricity shooting off from one neuron to the next.
Right.
Like a grid, like a circuit board.